What's up, guys? I'm Alex.
I'm Jason. We're the Table Monkeys, and this is Table Talks episode number 52. So, we just had a wicked event you may have seen. If you haven't, we're going to hopefully remember to throw a card up in the window here so you can check that out.
It was one of the most intense events I've been to. The atmosphere was insane.
Yeah, I think also the fact that it was the first time we've been in a bar since like COVID, that was probably a part of why it felt so like, what is this? What is happening right now?
And we haven't been in arm wrestling that long, but it feels like we're reconnecting with our roots, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And
arm wrestling was started in a bar, and it's been, we haven't been able to go to a bar for over 2 years.
But things are opening up here, so we were able to get out there and do that and have a pretty good crowd. It was a pretty small space.
It was
considering
intimate,
so it made it feel awesome. Like, I didn't really promote it at much, like I didn't let anybody really know where it was except for people that were supposed to be there, kind of thing. And then let them invite a couple extras. So it was really good to see, because I think that like now with the kind of traction we've been able to develop and stuff, I think we're going to be able to we'd be able to fill a big bar pretty easily.
Yeah, that was just like our tester event, see how the concept worked, see what the response was going to be like, and I think it turned out amazing.
It turned
out
so
super
good.
Excited for the next one.
Yeah, it's really cool because it was like 100%. Like so much just in my own head how I saw it running, and I tried to relay the information to you and to other people as best as possible, but it's such a brand new way of doing it that it's hard to get it out of your head and into somebody else's head without being able to actually see it. And even like you made the point, like you tried not to get too excited about it until you actually saw it come, like actually play out to fully understand it, and then once you did, you were like, holy fuck, this is crazy. And
if you heard me on the live stream, I was like jumping out of my seat.
That's, and the live stream with you and Top Troll, that's okay. We're gonna go through our thank yous, and we'll give him the first thank you,
because couldn't have done it without a few people.
Couldn't have done without a lot of people. So
thank you, Steve, Mr. Top Troll,
for helping with the live stream.
We'll put his link in the description. Go check him out. He also puts out great YouTube videos of all our practices and other stuff. And
then Umesh, you say his last name because I'm horrible with names.
Derves.
Yes, I know it's easy, but I'm going to fucking fuck it up somehow. Anyway, Umesh is amazing, and Umesh has Be Strong Arm Wrestling. That's his main YouTube channel for arm wrestling, and he has been like super helpful with all our tech stuff and making sure that our live streams look good. And
boy, did our live stream look good.
Yeah, it did, man. It did. In comparison to other ones, like it's.
We're not gonna name names, but I think we kill all the other.
Yeah, we're pretty happy. We're pretty happy with the quality. We'll just say that. And we didn't even have the good microphones set up. Like we have levels up that we can still reach, and that's all thanks to Umesh helping us out with that. And then the next one, that if you did see the whole team event and how it played out, there's a different scoring system, and like there's points and all this stuff. So my brother Drez, he was actually able to program, because he's a fucking nerd like that, program a wicked scoreboard, and he did it in like 2 days, and we had the remote on the phone and everything, so you were able to like live update the fouls and the scores and the points and everything. And then when you're watching the live stream, again, because of Umesh, we were able to like switch back and forth between the event and the scoreboard, which just felt pretty cool to be able to like
it was like a professional
put on that
event.
type of a performance,
next level productions
with just a laptop. So
I think
big thank you to Drez, if I didn't just say that earlier, for throwing together the scoreboard, because it's huge, and it's gonna be a game changer.
And I think our final thank you is to James and the Mutt and all the team there,
and then Philly and the Six who ran the food. So James runs the bar, and it got kind of hit pretty hard through COVID, as most small businesses did. So now he's got a pop-up going in the kitchen, and he's still running the bar, and the pop-up in the kitchen is Philly and the Six. I forget the guy's Peter. His name was Peter. That's running that place. So Philly cheesesteak sandwiches, they were really good. The bar is awesome. It's a cool little place on Dundas, 1516 Dundas Street West. Go check it out if you're in Toronto. And thank you to both those guys for helping us put it together. We'll probably end up back there sometime in the future. But now we'll talk about the actual event, like the matches and stuff.
The actual event, because we kicked it off with a fucking banger.
I mean, I knew it was going to be a good match. I've arm wrestled both these guys left-handed recently, like within the last like right before they both started resting and peaking for this.
Right.
So I knew where they both were. I knew how they both pulled. I knew that Mick was going to come forward, and I knew that John was going to have the better hand. But I didn't see. I mean, I guess I should know by now if it's going to be a good match like that. This is what it's going to look like, because this was amazing, and. Just such a good fight.
Yeah, it was great because, John flash pinned Mick right off the go on round one.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
John's got it.
Yeah.
He's got the bag. And
Mick was like, no, you know what? I think I can commit more.
Yeah.
And what did we say about the moves? Like, we just went through this. Again, we'll throw a card up in the window if we can remember. If not, go check out our videos on Hill Theory. But in discussing the key to winning the inside, it's commitment. And that's all that Mick did. He just committed harder. I was screaming at him to look at his hand the whole time, and he kept looking back, so I wasn't going to stop it. And I've arm wrestled with him. I know the integrity of his arm. I know it's there, but he's still new. So having a big guy like John pull on it, it's different.
And he wasn't able to hook John. He was still pretty flat-handed. So a lot of the time flopped. Yeah. But he kept that shoulder position. Kept driving, keeping John from pulling it out of his shoulder.
Really good at keeping his elbow tight to his body, even though he wasn't fully behind it. Like, he was a little outside. He was able to keep his elbow close to his body, so the fact that his hand was a little far away from his body wasn't as bad for him. And it went back and forth, right? And
it was 2-2, and then third, I think in the fourth round, John
hurt his elbow. Yeah, and you can kind of see it. I think I can see it when it happened. I haven't talked to him about it, so I don't know if that's the exact moment, but you can see him kind of come forward.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
A little bit, and right at that moment, Mick kind of pushes through a bit, and you see him kind of run away from it, like shit. Yep. And then he can't hold any more brack strength, like on the up pressure. Yep. And he just gets pinned right there. So that was probably you feel strong there when you're trying to make that transition, but there's a real like gentle spot.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe it was just a roll, like a tendon roll over the bone, because as far as I know, he said he didn't think it was too bad. Like, he thought it was way worse when it happened, and then a couple days later he's like, it's actually not as bad as I thought.
Okay.
So that's pretty good.
But then round 5 he couldn't hold anything. Yeah, he just got flopped.
Yeah, and kudos to him to try to at least go through the setup and everything. I know if his bigger brother Paul would have wanted him to just say it's okay, I don't need to pull again, but he got back on the table and he didn't lay down. He definitely tried to see what was there, and there wasn't really anything there. So,
but amazing comeback by Mick.
Yeah,
great pulling.
Yeah,
they brought the intensity.
Oh, the intensity was just through the roof, and they're both in the team event, so that was part of why they had the match. Once I set up the team event, I didn't want a bunch of super matches beforehand, so I just offered the guys that were pulling right-handed in the team event, hey, who wants a left-handed match? And both these guys did. So I was like, this is a really good match. Let's line that up. But then because John got hurt, he ended up having to pull out of the team event, and luckily Derek was there, and he was able to sub in for him. Yep. So that kind of changed the layout a little bit. I don't think that it made the red team stronger necessarily.
No,
it just changed the style of pulling, really, because Derek's much more of a hook puller, and John is much more of a top roller. So
maybe Derek took more out of the arms of his opponents because he was getting in hook battles.
But he wasn't peaked. John was peaked. So you have to factor that. Like, we don't know where John's right would have actually been. Yeah. But I think it's the styles that was different because what you just said, actually. So, like, it wasn't Derek being stronger. It was more that he's a hook puller, that he put guys into hooks that would have gotten into top roll battles with John more likely. So that's part of what makes the team thing so interesting, which we'll get to in a minute. But real quick, we'll touch on Jonathan and Jackie. So you go ahead.
Yeah, so this was a right-hand match between Jonathan LaRue and Jackie Kwan. So these guys have been... Jonathan's been looking for a match for a long time.
Yeah, he's a newer puller, and he's been to some practices, but he's never been to a tournament as far as I know.
No.
And he's kind of... You know how a lot of the guys come from the gym and they're really strong, so they want to... And the super matches seem so cool, so they want to like get a super match. And because of COVID, there hasn't been any tournaments, so the only thing that's been available...
He did do the one tournament. Matches. The one the ASCII tournament. But
did he enter that? Yeah, he did. Right, with all his... But if
I remember, I don't think he did that well.
No, I think it was the same. It was the same kind of thing. Like, he just doesn't really understand the setup yet.
Yeah.
And then he gets kind of caught off guard on the go. And if you pull him in practice, he's stupid
He's
strong.
ridiculously strong. He pins me all the time.
Yep. You can't, like, you give him a little bit so that he knows where his lane is, but then it's like, fuck, now I'm really in a world of hurt. So unfortunately for him in practice, I think that when he's practicing with somebody that's close to him, all they do is keep him away from his strength, and then he hasn't connected like how to get to his strength yet. He just knows, okay, once I'm here, I'm fucking strong, and he is, and I think that's why he gets so frustrated, because he's like why can't I just, where is that? Why can't I get to it here? You know, and
it's tough to start from that fair setup.
Yeah,
you can see how uncomfortable it is for both of them at the beginning when they're just trying to, you know, get that fair setup.
Yeah, and he was trying to make Jackie uncomfortable in the setup, but unfortunately he's doing, again, one of the classic kind of mistakes of grinding in the setup. Did you see Alex with Larry recently? Alex Kardashian, arm wrestling with Larry?
No.
Okay, he just did a thing with Larry. Literally the best instructional session that Larry has ever had with anybody. Larry just leveled up like 3 times with this session with Alex. Alex is brilliant at explaining stuff. His language is not great, like, so he had to say things maybe more free, like, he had to repeat himself a few times to get the point across, but fuck, that guy understands arm wrestling like really, really well. And what were we just talking about? Because now I forget why I'm bringing him up.
Jonathan Jackie.
Oh, is that he made the point about grinding in the setup. He's like, do not waste your power in the setup. He's like, if you do that, people know how to. They're going to do all the tricks and take it away from you, and then you're never going to feel like you get a good start. And whether Jackie knew how to do that or not, that's what ended up happening.
Yeah, and Jonathan just got ripped by Jackie's posting top roll 3 times in a row. Yeah, Jonathan was never in the match.
No, and he was probably felt like he never even applied any real pressure.
Yeah,
which is again why you have to learn, if you really want to set a hook with somebody, or if you need to get to your power on the inside and you don't have a really dominant hand to this person, or know all the tricks of how to do it. You need a strap, you know, and we've been telling them that, and for some reason,
know how to slip.
Yeah,
also,
yeah, and some guys that are strong and that love to dominate with strength, they for some reason slipping. I think because slipping, you're giving away things, so you have to be ready to feel weak.
Yeah,
and they don't like to feel that way. Like Anthony has the same issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but round 1, Jordan knew to try to top roll him, even though Jordan was a hook puller, right? With Anthony, Jordan went to top roll, and Anthony, because he was like, I just wanted to try top rolling, so he tried top rolling, so it was kind of accidental, but it worked out perfect. They slip and go to the strap, and then the next round with Josh, he should have top rolled again, but he did this. It was the exact same start. If you look at round 2 with Anthony, it's every single round of Jonathan's match. It's, oh shit, just trying to hang on to this hook, and it just gets pulled away from you. And once your hand gets turned over, then it's really difficult to actually roll and slip. So you need to commit to like posting off the go.
Exactly.
And for some reason it's hard. It's I understand it, because like me committing to coming in took so long, you know, and now even with my left, I'm so used to coming in, and I feel uncomfortable posting because of my bicep tear, that I have the same thing. Like I tell myself I'm going to post, and then I end up, nope, I'm coming in for a hook.
Yeah.
So,
but but you're a more experienced puller, and you still have issues with your game and the way that you pull and techniques.
That's what I'm saying.
It takes a long time to develop these strengths and techniques, and you know, with 1 tournament and 2 super matches on your belt, you can't expect to be at your best.
It'd be like, I mean, maybe this is a bad comparison, but the one that comes to my mind is like, imagine if you learned how to dunk a basketball, like, and do your layups and shoot always, like, without anybody around you. So you're amazing. You can do all the moves. You can jump way up in the air and do all that shit, but you're never used to doing it with somebody in front of you. And then all of a sudden, they just put somebody in your path, and now, like, you don't get to step wherever you want. You have to step in a certain spot in order to get around your opponent. And all of a sudden, you can't do half the moves that you're used to doing. It's very similar to that kind of a scenario. If you're not used to practicing, not necessarily with other people, but like what you just said, like the hits, like knowing those, like even though you're used to it, it becomes such a like a spontaneous thing. When it happens, it has to be instinctual. It has to be like a reaction, you know? So
it's being ingrained in you.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm sure Jonathan will bounce back.
Yeah.
Great win for Jackie.
Yeah. And he took it great. Like, he got super pissed. He was telling me after, he's like, dude, I wanted to just fucking leave and go home and blah, blah, blah. And I just told him, well, but you didn't. You stayed here. You got on the table with more people. You felt it out. Like, come to the next practice. Keep coming to practice. We'll keep training the ready goes. Yep. And once you learn how to get to your strength, you're going to be a lot to deal with. Yep. There's no question about it.
Question.
So,
anyway, on to the main event, which was insane. This team event concept blew me away. It was so cool to see in action. Everybody got super hyped into it. Both teams, there's 10 people. All the matches were super interesting because they they had more value because it wasn't just the individual match and whoever won and their pride. It was the entire team. That benefited from the wins.
Exactly. And the thing that I thought was cool, and I don't know how much it was happening because I was reffing, so I couldn't watch everything happening, but like in a super match, you figure your opponent out like throughout the match. But in this, it's like you have to go to your teammate and be like, okay, when you like Josh is pulling like this today, or Josh feels really strong here, or it feels like the gap is over here. Like you get to, so then again, the whole team concept comes into play where, and then the whole thing with the subs. So like just to run through the rules, if you didn't watch the thing, the way what we're doing is there's a lot of different scenarios of how you could set up the event. The one that we set up, we set it to one weight class and one arm, and then 5 guys on each team. So it could be kind of like round robin style. So the concept was that each person from the red team would pull each person from the blue team at least one time. But then there were substitutions, so the teams could be strategical and change some of the matches around. And then we use this point system, and the point system is really kind of the team concept is amazing and it all works, but the point system is what I think makes it actually really work. Like if you just did it with win-loss, it wouldn't be as effective, I don't think, you know what I mean? But with this point system based on fouls, and it might need to be modified a little bit. I'm thinking about like what the actual point numbers are, and it's something I want to talk to Drez actually about because he's really good with that. But the way we have it now, it's 2 to 5 are the points that you can score, and like I'm not sure if it makes more sense for it to be like 3 to 7 maybe, so that it changes things as you change the total points you can get, because then the difference between getting like a win with one foul versus a perfect match of like 5 points isn't like, that's a 2.5 times variance,
right?
You know what I mean? So if the variance is not as big, it makes it maybe tighter, where the score can't get out of whack so fast. So that might need to be modified a little bit. Sorry if that was a little long. But that's the kind of shit you got to think about when you're thinking about creating a game, is how it all works. So the scoring system right now is 2 to 5 points, and basically it's set up on the fouls, and it encourages people not to foul, and it also encourages you to fight for position so that you can gain dominance in the match, or smash your opponent if you know that you can get it off the go with the flash pin.
So if you're in a match that's not a flash pin, neither of you fouls, that's a 3-point victory.
Exactly, yeah.
But if you get a foul while pinning the other person, you lose a point. So you're down to 2 points.
Yeah, and we did it arm war style running foul. So if you foul, then it's you get the pin, it's a restart. So now you're starting the next match knowing that the best you can do is a 2-point score, right? So, well, I guess you could get a 3 if you flashed him on the next one, which we didn't really think about. But as I think about it now, that could be a way where you're like, at first you hit for position, you got a foul, and then you, oh fuck, okay, so now you pin the guy, and then you restart, and you're like, okay, in order to maximize my points, now I got to flash him. So then you go for a flash pin instead of just for position. So again, it just creates so much more strategy in the whole thing. And then it goes up to so if you force your opponent to get a foul, or if your opponent fouls and you pin him, you get 4 points. And if your opponent fouls out, or you force him to quit, like you just hold him in position and then he fouls himself out or lifts his arm up and quits in the match, then that's 5 points. So it is supposed to, like I said, discourage fouling or make fouling have more of a consequence, and also encourage dominance. Whether it's through holding your opponent or just being too fast off the go. And the way we kind of establish flash pins for this, which as it gets more official, we would actually be able to like look at the replay and call it proper, but it's basically, it was ref's discretion of a half second. So that a half second is literally like that's a pretty, so go pin, like it's got to be that quick. So there's basically no resistance or no slowdown from when the guys from the go and to when the pin happened.
And we were able to call that pretty well.
I think that was pretty good. Yeah, there was a couple, like Miguel had one that got slowed down. I think it was maybe it was Josh. Like each team had a couple that looked fast, but you and me, without having to discuss it, we're both like, no, that wasn't a flash. So I think we had a pretty good idea of what that was supposed to look like. So it went so good, and then the strategy played in, like we've said, like even it was clear because the red team, and this is like maybe we could have done a little bit better job of making the teams more even, but I thought like on paper we all thought they were really even.
I thought they were really even.
And it didn't play out as even the day of, but I think a huge factor in that was that the red team, they came in much more as a team and much more ready for the strategy. I think a lot of that had to do with Miguel, because Miguel is like fucking crazy chess player and everything, so he just came in loving the strategy side of it and wanting to take advantage of everything that they could, strategy wise. So even to the point where I think there was a round where Anthony held Josh, and I feel like that, I don't know for sure, but I felt like the way it happened watching it back, I feel like that was totally Miguel or somebody on the team being like, okay, hold him now. Like, you got
Anthony had already pulled Josh and gotten flash pinned trying to hang on to his top roll.
Right.
So they made him pull Josh again.
Top roll and get the strap.
You get to the hook.
Yeah, and then once
hold him.
And either way, brilliant, because Josh was the only one who was going to have anything for Alexander.
Yeah.
And Alexander was who they needed to slow down because he was just running through everybody, and he did slow him down.
Yeah.
And even in the super match took his hand. So there was definitely something there, and that's after they concentrated on Josh and made sure to try to burn him out.
Yeah. Super important.
Yeah. It was really awesome to see, and especially to watch it back and see it happening and be like, oh, that's what happened. Oh shit. Like the whole thing in my head was like, if you can create this team aspect and give the scoring and everything, it just creates so much more story, so much more speculation, so much more vehicle for conversation around the sport. And that's all it needs to take it from where only arm wrestlers like to watch it to where anybody will like to watch it, because it's just fucking interesting now.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this is really actually is going to be able to do. So we're going to definitely do more.
Yes, we want to plan one in a couple months, basically, right?
Yeah, we've got, well, if you didn't see, so first of all, TODDZILLA event. Fucking TODDZILLA's coming to Toronto.
Fuck yeah.
Get your tickets.
Fortis Fitness.
Yeah, Fortis Fitness.
Link in the description.
Link down there, April 23rd. And it's not only a seminar, he's coming in, he's going to pull two of the strongest guys that we have in Ontario, Curtis Porkchop Cameron and Brian the Machine DeSormo, who are like almost like like they're very similar pullers, those two, as far as like their stature and their strength levels and everything, but they pull very different. Like Brian is high and outside and Curtis is like deep inside, so it'll be a bit of a change up for Todd. Like he's not just, anyway, it should be interesting, and because it's 2-on-1, so it's 6 rounds and like arm war style, and Curtis and Brian can switch back and forth however they want. So like they could go Curtis round 1, then Brian round 2 and 3. So Curtis gets an extra rest. So then Curtis comes in round 4 and 5 fresh, and then Brian finishes off fresh round 6. Or they can just go back and forth. They can do it however they want. But they got to pull all 6 rounds, and I haven't talked to Devin, but when we did first talk about it way back, it was going to be on stakings, so hopefully this makes it onto stakings as a shutout stakes, so it entices Todd not to give up a round, and this could be fucking awesome. So it's not only a seminar with Todd at Fortis Fitness, which the reason that's cool is because Todd is a West Side guy, and Fortis Fitness, the owner of Fortis Fitness, Sean Kelly, he's West Side certified. He's one of the only guys in Canada that is like fully West Side certified. And the gym isn't fully certified, so we have to change that on the actual post because it's just the gym owner, not the actual gym, which I didn't realize is a different thing, but it is different. So, but either way, so it's really cool to have
still
him here.
A match made in heaven.
Yeah, it is. Those two guys are going to get along so well. So that's happening, and the idea for that is to have an undercard match that'll be a small little team event, because TODDZILLA is the first guy I ever heard talk about team arm wrestling, and I never heard what his actual concept was. He just said basically what I've been saying, that it would change arm wrestling, and it would make it fucking killer.
Yeah, and he was right.
And he was right. But the big one that we're trying to do is going to be in May, the one you were just talking about.
Yes, this one we want to do a north versus south. So there's a ton of arm wrestlers in the north of Ontario that kind of get left around or
left out a little
behind
bit.
So we want to invite them to a tournament and bring our southern guys up there and have a little team event.
And North Bay is a nice little meeting middle ground. It's only about 3.5 hours north for us, which for us city folk is like a reasonably long drive. It's only like 8 hours south for them, so for those northern guys that's like a reasonable drive. So we meet in the middle, and it's going to be a 10 versus 10 north versus south event with different weight classes and stuff to show different ways that this team thing can happen. But then we're also going to have an open tournament after the team event, and we want to use this point system in the tournament style. So I know this has gone on for a few minutes already, but we're just going to finish off explaining how this works in a tournament style. It's really pretty actually simple, right?
Yeah.
So normally in a tournament like double elimination, you start, let's say you have 12 pullers in the class. You start off with 6 matches, just running down those 12 guys, and then you end up with a winner's bracket and a loser's bracket. And then in the loser's bracket, those 6 guys, you have 3 matches, and 3 guys from that loser's bracket end up getting eliminated because they've been eliminated twice. Well, what we want to do is do it all the matches based on points, and then you can run how many ever rounds you want. And each round, you just put the winners against the losers. So the first round, nobody has won or lost because everybody's like it's their first pull. So they do the same thing. And then you get your 6 guys in the winners and the 6 guys in the losers. Those 6 guys, you get 3 matches. And the other 6 guys, you get 3 matches. So you end up with another 6 winners and 6 losers because you got a total of 6 matches. And then you just keep repeating that process so nobody gets eliminated. You just run like what we're hoping to do for this one in North Bay is we'll do 5 rounds. So everybody gets to pull 5 times, kind of like a round robin tournament.
Yeah, nothing sucks more than going to a tournament and getting 2 losses and then you're out.
Yeah,
you're done.
That's it. You don't get another
$30 and you got 2 quick flash pins, and you're like, oh, I didn't even feel like I.
And because of the style of tournament, or because of who signs up, you end up going against the number 1 guy and then the number 3 guy, and it's your first tournament, and you were just hoping to get some practice in and like get some experience. You don't get a chance to do that. So with this style, we do that. We run the 5 rounds, and then we take the top 4 guys based on points, and then those top 4 guys go into the finals, and the finals is just a regular double elimination from there. So it would be like starting a 4-man double elimination.
Yep.
So you have match 1, match 2, winners, losers, so on, and then you get your champion for each weight class. So that's how we think it could work for tournament style. And like we said, it's kind of mixing round robin with elimination style, but using this point system. And it's gonna change shit.
I'm not gonna get too enthusiastic until I see it play out, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna
make sense.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna make sense. But if you're into the double elimination tournaments, we are gonna be at PAL March 26th. So if you're in Ontario and you're looking for somewhere to pull, make sure to be at that one. We're gonna be there, and we can talk to you about all the upcoming shit. You can hopefully we'll have T-shirts by then. You can get T-shirts from us, all that shit. And I think that's the end now.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's good.
Talk about anything else?
No, just like the video, leave some feedback in the comments.
Hit that subscribe button, smash the bell, all of those things. Peace.